All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. This is Tableau Executive Gift Dashboard. I am Glenn Kendall from Concourse Hosting. Also with me today, who we don't have a picture of, so you'll just have to use your imagination, is Jason Repko.
Hi, everyone. Former public radio NPR guy anyway, so probably good with just a voice.
There you go. Yeah. He has a face for radio. We'll be asking for your pledges at the end here, going to, of course, your favorite public radio station.
Or program.
There you go. Go to Webinar Control Panel. That's what this screen is showing you here. What we recommend you do is take the section under the wombat there, which is titled Questions, and go ahead and pop that out. You can just click on that little box there with the arrow in it, and it will pop it out. And then you can hit the red arrow at the top of the control panel to collapse the rest of the control panel down. That will allow you to ask questions as we go during the webinar, and without having the control panel be in the way. So please go ahead and do that. And we'll be taking your questions as we go here. So feel free, as we're going along, to go ahead and, if anything is a mystery to you, go ahead and just ask the question as we go, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. So really the reason that we're doing this, we do these webinars on a quasi-weekly basis, is to get you in the nonprofit and foundation world familiar with using Tableau, give you some experience using it, and show you some quick things that you can do to get some quick wins, and just get in and start using it so that you can see and understand your nonprofit data. We happen to specialize in blackboard software here at Concourse. So what you'll be seeing us demonstrating today is based on Razor's Edge. So we'll be using a data source that is based on the GIFs query in Razor's Edge. And I'll explain a little more about that as we go. Otherwise, the tools that we'll be using are Tableau Desktop, using the latest version, which is 10.3, and also Tableau Server 10.3. So if you don't mind here, if each of you could just, as a practice, type into the question field, just let me know what your experience is with Tableau, like how much experience you have in terms of, are you brand new to it? Have you been using it for a year? Something like that. Or maybe what you're hoping to get out of today's webinar, some things you'd like to see. That also helps us gauge, by seeing what your experience level is, how much detail we need to go into when we're explaining things. Okay, so what we're really going to be doing here, making an executive dashboard. We're going to focus on just some basic KPIs or parameters, if you will, that executives would be interested in. We are going to focus on having a distinction between regular GIFs and major GIFs, and letting that be configurable. We'll show you how to calculate the median and show median gift amounts. And then we're going to sort of put it all together and put it into a dashboard, and then show you how that works, and as well as showing you alerts, which is a new feature in the latest version of Tableau. They've had alerts, or you could subscribe to a dashboard rather, but alerts are new, where as a certain data threshold is reached, it'll actually send you an email based on that. All right, so going back through your answers here, it looks like most people are relatively new to Tableau. Some people have taken a course, but most people have a year or less of experience. So great, thank you for your feedback on that. So I'm going to do what I just recommended, which is pop your questions out in the control panel and then collapse that down so that we can see it. And then close this. Close this bad boy, and in we go into Tableau. All right, so again, I'm using Tableau Desktop. This is the builder program. So this is what you're going to use to create your data visualizations. Tableau Server is where then you publish them to share them once you've created them. So as soon as you fire up Tableau, the first thing it's going to want to do is connect to data. So you can, if you don't have a Tableau server or a Tableau service with us, you can do an export of your data. That's the simplest way to get started. So you can put that in a CSV file, Excel file, maybe an Access MDB database, and access it that way. If you do happen to have direct access to a SQL server, you can connect to that, and there's all kinds of different things you can connect to here. Tableau is very flexible that way. We're going to connect to our Tableau server. So if you have Tableau service with us here at Concourse, what we do is we take all your data out of Razor's Edge, put it into our Tableau server, and you'll have your own site in there, and then we build these data sources for you. So right now we have actions, constituents, and GIFs as data sources that are available. So these mirror the same way that these work in Razor's Edge, same kind of fields and whatnot. So we're going to do GIFs. So I just simply click on the GIFs and it connects to that. So this is a Tableau extract. So that's all of the data pulled out of Razor's Edge, and now it's all there in Tableau server. An extract is a special Tableau data source or thing, if you will. It's specially indexed, so it's really fast. If you connect directly to something like your SQL server and try to pull all the data out of your Razor's Edge that way, it's going to be perhaps slow. An extract pulls all the data out of the Razor's Edge ahead of time, indexes it in a special format, and then makes it, all on Tableau server, so it's really fast. So I'm connected to this. Now, granted, we're using the sample data source here, so just bear that in mind as we're going through and building this. On the left, we have dimensions and measures. So the dimensions are these things, these categories that you would typically see within Razor's Edge query. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is just build something really simple. We're going to look at the gift amount. So I'm going to double click on that and pull that in there, and then we're going to do the gift date. By just double clicking on these, it automatically adds it to the viz, and I can of course change how I want it to look, but it just automatically throws it in there. Now this is doing it on per year, so this is across basically all the data that's in the sample database that we have from 2002 on. So I'm going to instead look at it on a monthly basis. I want to see if my executives probably want to see how it changes by month instead. Now keep in mind when I do this, this is for all Januaries, all Februaries, and whatnot. So I probably want to filter in here. We have a special calculated field for gift date, so you can use a gift date, or we have this calculated field that uses your fiscal year. So I'm going to pull that one in. It's the same as the gift date, is just adds a formatting so it takes the fiscal year into account. And I'm going to do a range of dates in here because we don't want to probably see everything. We just want to see things from the last year or so. All right, so I put in a range of dates from the 1st of January of 2016 up until September 1st, 2017. And I'll make this as an area chart instead. Somebody asked, can you show us the calculated field? Is that for the gift amount, or which calculated field are you referring to? The gift date FY. Yeah, all we've done with this is, so if you have a date, any date field, so I'm just clicking on it here and showing the default properties for this are, well, let's first just go, so it knows it's a date, and we can see that by this little calendar icon over here. And what you can do is you go down to default properties and then fiscal year start. Can you see that down there? And it's set to use the data source. So this means that we calculated on the back end what fiscal year it's supposed to be. But you can pick this yourself. So if your fiscal year starts in July, you can create your own calculated field and then basically set it to be that fiscal year. So to do that, all you would just do is just like, you can make a copy of your date and just have it be, the calculated field doesn't need to calculate anything. It should just be nothing more than the date itself, just the date parameter. And then, move this out of the way here. And then you can set the default properties there. Does that make sense? Yeah, the other calculated field that we're using here is gift amount. This does something called a level of detail, which is looking at basically all the gifts for a given ID. So if you're doing gift splits and that sort of thing, it takes that into account. Okay. So here we're looking at again, all the gifts over the last year or so on a per month basis. So we can see we had this nice little spike up here. I'm going to change the filter to be just this year. So we're looking at a little bit less. Well, maybe I'll look at the last fiscal year. I want to show. I don't know if I want to show all that. This would be saved through 6/30/2017, if this is our fiscal year. All right, well, so we have this big spike over here. Okay, the next thing I want to do is add a filter of the gift type. And this is something that you always want to add, or at least 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to add this. So this allows you to select which gifts you're actually talking about. So, and this will prevent double counting. So if you have, you know, MG Pay Cash and MG Pledge, maybe you don't want both of those. Maybe you don't want pledges. Maybe you don't want recurring gifts and recurring gift pay cash. You don't want write-offs, maybe. You know, so allow some flexibility for your users to be able to choose those things. Don't want stock and property, Jason says. Well, maybe we do, maybe we don't.
Keep sold.
Okay, there we go. All right.
In this case.
Cool. So, there's going to be a little bit of effort early on here just to sort of get the basic things set up. One of the things we want to do, I mentioned early on, is to calculate whether we're looking at major gifts or not. So what's a major gift? Well, it's going to vary for everyone. Everyone's going to have maybe a different threshold of what that major gift is. So what we're going to do is create a parameter, and I'm going to call this major gift threshold. So if you've been to previous webinars, this is similar to what we did a few weeks ago. So major gift threshold, we can limit what kind of range we want it to have, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. We can just say they can put in any value they want. So parameter is basically a user input. It lets the user decide what they want to put in, and then, takes that into account when calculating things. The only properties I'm going to put on here, I'm just going to make sure it's in a number format. So it's in a currency format rather, with no decimal places. Okay. So since we're going to be making a bunch of worksheets, what I'm going to do is on these filters, you can click on them and tell them, hey, I want to apply this filter to either only this worksheet or all worksheets using this data source. So I'm going to select that so that as we make more data sources, I don't have to do this over and over again. And I'm going to show these filters. By showing the filter, that allows the user to, and if you might need to move your GoToWebinar control panel to see this, you can just drag it down. Allows the user to choose in the viz itself. Otherwise, you're choosing for them if you're hiding it, and they might not know what things you've picked. I'm going to choose to display this filter as a multi-value drop-down, which means I have to click in order to see everything, so it takes up less real estate. And then the gift date I'm going to leave, as a range here, so you can just basically type in any range that makes sense. And then I'm also going to show the parameter control of major gift threshold. We're going to make it more than $1. Let's make it 5,000. So it's not doing anything right now. It's just a parameter. I have to create a calculated field in order for that to do something. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. Create a calculated field. Is major gift if the gift amount is greater than or equal to, and notice how when I'm typing in a calculated field, I can just start typing the letters, and it's going to find the parameter. It's going to auto-complete it for me. And then I can just hit the tab, and it automatically does that. So if the gift amount is greater than or equal to the major gift threshold, then yes, else no. So this can have one of two values, either yes or no. And we'll go ahead and send the calculated field for this at the end of the webinar so you can have that something to use. Okay, now we're going to pull this over. Is major gift? We're going to say no. So wow, that changed our viz quite a bit now. So now we're not looking at any gifts that are $5,000 or more. We're just looking at the smaller gifts. Let's change the color on this. And let's start to, I'm going to not show the headers on the bottom. and I'm going to edit the axis for the numbers to hide that it's the gift amount, because it should be evident that it's the gift amount. I'm going to also put this gift amount onto the label. So that labels these different points on the axis. What I did there is I held down the control button and then I drug this same pill down to the label. By holding the control panel down or holding the control button down and doing that, it makes a copy of it. If I weren't holding that button down, I just drug it over, then it would actually move it to the label instead. I'm just going to have it show, instead of all, I'm just going to have it show the maximum value. And I'm going to format this, make it a tad bigger and bold. And we will call this if I can spell, regular gifts by month. Non-major gifts, this might be like your annual fund type gifts. I'm not sure what you call a non-major gift, a minor gift. I don't want to call them minor gift. No. We'll call them regular gifts.
Your average gift.
But then we're going to calculate the average later. So the average.
That would be in quotes.
Yeah.
Your average.
All right.
Gift.
Regular gifts by month. So then when you mouse over this, even so I got rid of the bottom axis, you wouldn't be able to see the date, but you can mouse over it and then see the date. We're hoping that it'd be somewhat self-evident to people because they're choosing the date up here, which date it is that they're, they can roughly see what dates they're looking at by mousing over. All right. I'm going to pop over to the dashboard real quick just to show you where we're going with this. And then we're going to go back and make more worksheets that we're going to be putting into the dashboard. So down here at the very bottom, if I want to make a new worksheet, I hit this button. If I want to make a new dashboard, I hit this button. So dashboard is a collection of worksheets. So we're going to make several dashboards here together. And you can just double click on the worksheet and it automatically appears in the dashboard. So the reason I got rid of the axis at the bottom is that because we're going to be putting a lot of them in here, it's going to make the dashboard a little bit busy. So here's one that we're going to put in, and I'm going to just move kind of quickly here and build several more. Are there questions up until this point before I start going and building more of these? All right. So this is by month. So again, it's going to go up and down according to the amount of giving for that month. I'm going to duplicate this. So you can just click on the sheet and say duplicate, and it makes a copy of it. Now this one's sheet 2. Now in this one, I'm going to make a slight change. Instead of looking at month to month, I'm going to look at the running total. So now this is how we're going overall toward our goal. Regular gifts running total. duplicate this again. This time, instead of running total, I'm going to do median. You can do average or median. I like to do median because median means the more representative amount. If you do average, average can be skewed by one big gift. And so that may not be the most representative. So median is something that's only available if you're using an extract. You can't do median if you're connecting directly to a SQL database because of the processing that's involved. It has to be an extract to do a median. One other thing that might be interesting is, so we're calculating the gift amount is to look at the donors, how many donors we got. So I'm going to duplicate the sheet again. And this time, instead of looking at gift amount, I'm just going to remove those. We're going to go up and get the constituent ID. It's also the same as the records ID. And we're going to do a distinct count of those. How many distinct constituents? Okay. Put that one on the label as well. And do the same thing over here. I'm going to edit this and remove that description from it. So we're just looking at the number here instead. Format. Okay, so now I've got gifts by month, donors by month, running total of gifts, in median gift by month. So if I want to look at, and the only difference between these, if I want to do these same things for major gifts, I can just, again, copy these, duplicate them. But this time I'm going to change my filter for is major gift. I'm going to change it from no to yes. So now this one is major gifts by month. Duplicate. Major donors by month. Major gifts running total. And duplicate this last one. So this would be median major gift by month. All right. So now we have 8 different worksheets. So once they went to, so going back to our dashboard here, so now all of these show up in the dashboard, and it has a little check mark by it if it's already in the dashboard. I'm just gonna just throw these in here. Maybe put the major gifts down below. Regular gifts, regular donors, major donors, regular gifts running total. Let's put this over here. Major gifts running total. Also put this over here. Kind of running low on real estate here, so I'm going to take my filter. So this is where it gets fun, trying to figure out the formatting. So each of these is called, it's just a worksheet in here, but you can also create what's called a layout container. So if you notice this blue bar that kind of goes around all of these, that's one layout container that it just automatically put everything into. And then the filters it put into another layout container. So the layout container is, you know, you can put a bunch of things within the layout container and then format the containers and move them around. So that's fun. You can do a bunch of formatting and moving stuff around with that. Just quickly, I'm going to move the filters up here to the top so I have a little bit more real estate to work with. Now this, I'm trying to remember what kind of layout container, yeah. So it made a vertical layout container for the filters, which means it wants to arrange the things within the container vertically on top of each other. So I don't want to do that. I want a horizontal container instead. So I'm going to put another container in here, and I need to move these into that container so that they can be horizontal instead of vertical. So bear with me as I move these around. This is the tricky part. So if it selects the blue one, I don't want the whole layout container. I just want that little guy right there. So when it's gray, that's just the object itself and not the container. All right, so something like that. So I'll put the gift type on this side, the major gift thing on this side. Try to align these up just a little bit. All right, so I have my filters at the top. Let the user choose the major gift threshold, the date, and the gift types. And then I have my regular gifts, regular donors, gifts running total. I'll put the donors at the end. We care about, probably care a little more about the money. So let's move that over. Make the money front and center. So yeah, you can spend a lot of time formatting things and trying to make it look pretty, but I think, you know, just overall what you're going for is to just have something that is a quick snapshot so the executives can see, you know, how things are going. And one thing that we're not showing yet is the median amount. This might make it a little bit too busy to throw this in. Maybe I'll throw it under here. something like this. And you can always decide, you know, if you want to hide some of these titles or change the font on them to make it smaller. You know, if there's too much words and it's looking a little bit too busy, that might be something that you look at doing. I am going to name this. Rename this called Executive Gift Dashboard. And then I can go up here to Dashboard and say Show Title. So now we have that up at the top. And then edit that. Excuse me. And then we're going to put it in the center. Give a little bit of color. Maybe bold it. Okay. So that's my dashboard. Now I'm sure I can make it prettier, but just for, you know, for purposes of the demo today, this is a good start. So before I publish this to the server, are there any questions about anything that we've done so far? Great. So now in order to share this and let our executives actually use it, we want to go ahead and publish it. So if you have Tableau server with us, you will have a site that's available that you can publish things to and then share them from there. So I'm just going to name it the same thing, Executive Gift Dashboard, and go ahead and publish that. It's going to overwrite the one that I already had in there. I was doing some testing earlier. And then once you publish it, it will automatically then log you into the Tableau server site. Well, you're kind of already logged in anyway, but it takes you to the web view of it. And at that point, you can go ahead and click on the dashboard itself. And so this is what it looks like then within Tableau server. So this is what, when your executives go to look at it, this is what they'll be seeing. They can then customize the views that they want. If they want to change the major gift threshold to 50,000 instead, they can do that, and then they can save it as their own view. So once you change any of these filter parameters up here, that changes the view. Then if you want to save it so you don't have to reset that every time you come in, and just name it something. Then you can also say make it your default. And you can also make it public so other people can use that view as well. So there's the original view, there's one I made earlier, Glenn view, original, and then this one demo that I just made. Okay. One of the other things that you can do is set an alert. So this is a new feature in Tableau where you can set an alert. So executives might not want to come in here every day. They just want to know, hey, is something new changed? You know, if we reach a certain threshold, they'll go in and take a look and see how things are going. So one thing that you might want to set an alert on is the running totals of your regular gifts or major gifts. So to do an alert, what you do is you click on the axes, that's the numeric axes that you want to monitor the value for, and then you hit alert, and then this box pops up here. And so it's going to send an email if this amount is greater than some number. So it automatically is just putting in an example of something that it thinks you might be interested in. So it's at 74,000 right now. So say, hey, maybe once it hits 80,000, then I want it to let me know. And then how often you want to send it. Hourly, weekly, daily, once the first time it's true, maybe.
Oh, my question was, yes, exactly there. I see you assigned yourself to the recipient. So you can add recipients to this alert out of anybody who has a Tableau server account. That's correct.
Right. So you can put other users in here.
But as long as I have Tableau server account.
Yeah, if they have a Tableau server account. Yep.
Cool, new feature.
Yeah.
And they having, I think one of our attendees was asking about this yesterday.
Then say create alert, and so now
He
we'll
knows
get an
who she
email.
is.
Yeah. Now I'll get an email when that's true.
Yep.
And
Cool.
the email looks something like.
Oh, I like that part of this, the feature where you can, it's picking a part of a particular report in your dashboard that you can say, I want to really look at this one.
Right.
Instead of if just every single little thing changes in the report, I'm getting 30 emails.
Exactly.
I'm the executive director. This is really what I want to monitor daily. And so that somebody building this dashboard for them could choose what that is and then set a specific alert for that specific figure that he or she is looking for.
So this is my email, and it's got, this is just basically what it looks like in here. So it'll show the highlighted area, the threshold that was met. And so you see why you're being alerted. Then you can say, oh, well, manage my alerts, remove me from this alert, add me to this alert. So you forward this to somebody else, edit this alert, etc. Okay. So yeah, then if I go under myself, under users here, and go under alerts, I can see that alert, and then I can remove it, edit it, change the owner of it, etc. So that is how that works. So yeah, hopefully with this will give you some ideas to make a simple executive gift dashboard for your executives using data from your Razor's Edge. This webinar is recorded, so I will post this onto YouTube, and we'll send a link to it after it's all up there and ready to go. But yeah, that's all I have prepared for you today. So thank you all very much for coming. I'm going to stick around for a few minutes for questions, but otherwise, thank you very much. Have a great day.